Alright, I know. I've not uploaded the video in several months. I know. I'm gonna do this topic video. I'm gonna do a reaction review video after this. Hopefully that'll give you guys a bit of hopefully it'll keep you guys at bay for a bit till I'm able to record probably in like a few weeks or so, and I actually mean that, this time. Um Anthony Fantano has released a video called Garbage. Now, it is about AI in music, and have I did a video about AI in music. Now, it's not actually really a bad thing. But if you want to go watch that, feel free. It should be right on the homepage, very easy to find. And the basic idea I was saying was basically for anyone saying it's going to replace all music, no, that exact same sentiment is why it won't, because there is clearly a market where AI is not involved. Therefore, there will be people who will fill that and desire that. You are literally creating supply and demand by just saying, I do not want AI in my music. Therefore, it will not take over all music. Second, people are saying that it affects their creativity. Not really. If we're talking about AI generated music and AI being used in music, which are different things, AI generated music, yeah, very different, There's a very small percentage of cases where it is acceptable, Like there's so many, like there's a whole bunch of channels like, Obscurest Vinyl and Almost Vinyl, where they make kind of these kind of funny comedy songs, ha ha ha, and they're in the style of these like old 30s, like speakeasy music or whatever else you have, speakeasy jazz, that kind of stuff, early rock and roll, folk, country. Sometimes it's like 80s music. And here's the thing, right? For that alone, like yes, they're putting effort into, the lyrics, and they're writing some of it, and there is, the whole thing about this is there an artistic expression being is there an intentional artistic expression being expressed by a person? And in these situations, yes, but even besides that, right, if you want to make a song in the style of these older songs, like, from the 30s and so, you can't. You know why? Because all that technology doesn't exist anymore. It just doesn't. So the closest thing you could do is get AI to mix it in a way or generate it where it sounds the same. Because all those really old amps and microphones and rooms they'd be recording in for a specific room tone or such, all these things, just don't exist anymore. They're not being made. And any you do find at a pawn shop will be, if you're lucky, somewhat rough condition and maybe operational. And if you want to spend literally hundreds of thousands of dollars buying all these different things and restoring them and all that kind of stuff, then sure, you can make songs sound like they're in the 30s, or you can just not fucking do that and have a brain and not waste all your money and just do some AI mixing. Not a bad thing, I think the third thing is that what was the third thing? There's a third point. I don't remember it. Fuck. Anyways, so I just kind of went on a rant in that video. There is a video from Fantano, Anthony Fantano, the Melon Man himself, called Garbage, and I wanna look at this for a bit. I want to dissect this. I already watched it once through, and there's some really damning things I want to talk about here. And here's the thing. In a way, he's part of the problem. A lot of people are part of the problem, but this is a very damning example of it, and I really want to highlight this for just future reference.
Hi everyone, Anthony Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, once again talking about the topic that just won't die, and that is artificial intelligence.
But I wonder why.
Can you blame me?
Yes.
This is a pretty huge and persistent topic in the music industry right now, and
This intro actually kind of pisses me off a bit, and I'll tell you why. Just to sum up the entire video, and the main reason why I'm kind of mad at this, right, is that he goes on to say there's a song that came out from The Alchemist and someone else. I don't remember their name.
Producer extraordinaire who recently
Erica Badu. So very excitable collaboration, right? They collabed and they released a song, but the visuals for that song, the video, was AI generated. Here is the issue, right? Let me play this again.
Hi everyone, Anthony Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, once again talking about the topic that just won't die, and that is artificial intelligence. But hey, can you blame me?
The reason I said yes is because this entire video, he never, ever once talks about the fucking song. If you're tired of this topic of AI being so talked about to death, you had an opportunity to be like, yeah, the visuals were shit anyways. Let's talk about the song now, and then kind of fight that issue, But you didn't. You spent 10 minutes talking about how unfortunate it is that this video used AI. It's like, okay, but dude, you're a music reviewer. Talk about the song. Like, if you want people to talk about the music and not the AI, then talk about the fucking music. What are you doing? Come on. What you should have done? You're a veteran YouTuber. You should know how to do this. I've been doing this for that long. I know how to do this already way better. What you would do is you do a track review, which I know you do, which I haven't done a lot of lately. I don't know why, but you do a track review of the song, right? Talk about how good it is. I think it was good. You never mentioned that. I think he mentioned it, but I don't know if the song is good or not because he never talked about it. So I'm gonna take away from this AI bad, not the song, which you're so tired of people not talking about more, right? You do a track review on the song, right? You talk about the song and how great it is. I think it was great, besides the video. I don't know. And then after that, you release a video. This video, same video, right? But now you can insert like tags up here. You can do a little end card, a whole bunch of things, annotations to link back to the track review, which people probably would have already seen. But if not, that's traffic going to that video. The video you want more people to see anyways, So not only have you dealt with the issue of focused on the music more, but also you would have just did the simple YouTuber thing of, using trends effectively, like these are The Alchemist and Erica Badu are both big artists. So if you do a track review on that song, that will get views. It will get views, And then if you do this video talking about AI in general, hot topic, will get views. And then you use this video to funnel views into the track review video, and just like that, it's perfect. It's so perfect, and you didn't do it. What are you doing, man? I don't get it. It's upsetting how obvious this is, if you want people to talk about the music, then talk about the music.
This is a pretty huge and persistent topic in the music industry right now.
I wonder why.
As dismal as the present and future looks due to the proliferation of AI-generated music, how often this boring, uninspired garbage is being fed to people, a lot of the time without their knowledge, through music streaming platforms, through social media platforms.
Yeah, fair enough. Not cool.
But we've actually seen the effective collectivization of people who actually want to see some effort and some soul being put into the art they're consuming, and just
like I said in the other video, because people want to see it, they have created a demand, and then people who want money and artists who have integrity will be more than likely to make the supply for that demand, and then you have your market.
standing against this crap when it's handed to them. Now, this happened most recently toward the end of this week due to some promotion.
I'm gonna skip past this a bit.
However, the attention that should have been going to that new song ended up getting sidelined into the unfortunate and disappointing visuals attached to the song. First,
Yeah, and you're taking part in that. How can you be this, how can you be this dumb? Sorry to say, but
to that new song from the project. However, the attention that should have been going to that new song,
clearly he's so frustrated that the song was not getting attention. And he's like, unfortunately, people can't stop talking about the video, which you were doing the entire 10 minutes of this video. Like, come
ended
on.
up getting sidelined into the unfortunate and disappointing visuals attached to the song. First,
It's like beating a dead horse. It's like, yeah, we know AI bad, whatever,
we
you
got
know.
an inkling of this through this kind of like green with black line drawings on top of it, like little
Not
illustration, which I saw
I don't mind
and
it.
had some fishy vibes to it. Like there's something about
It's like that. It's like fishy vibes. Like it's automatically like a bad thing, which I'll get to in a second.
the art style that feels like residuals of when we had like that run of terrible Studio Ghibli ripoff art, just toxic
Yeah.
on the internet. On top of that, I don't know why there's smoke coming out of the back of Erykah Badu's head, but
I mean, here's the thing, right? Here's a big brain take, right? Maybe with AI generated stuff, right? And this goes in this whole thing of like, is there artistic intent behind what it's creating, right? If we've all forgotten, there's also the other side of the things of we put artistic intent on things that don't necessarily have it. Like, that guy who duct taped a banana to a wall and it was like modern art or whatever, and it sold for like $1 billion zillion or whatever. Like, we decided that had meaning, right? We're humans. That's where our brains are. We look for patterns in things. We look for meaning in things. What if? Yeah, maybe AI generated art doesn't have a human intentional artistic expression, sure, but as humans, we can still find expressive things in that. Like he says, why is there smoke coming out of their head? Yeah, sure, it should be come from their joints and their smokes. I get that. However, I could say, they are an amazing artist, which they are. I'm not listening to any of their stuff, but I know for a fact they're a big deal and super creative. You can literally say that, the gears in their brain are turning and it's smoking because they're turning so fast and it's coming out of their head. Like you can find meanings in this kind of stuff sometimes,
On top of that, I don't know why there's smoke coming out of the back of Erykah
There could be a reason there,
Badu's head, but
because it's a big part of the conversation is like, what is music? What is artistic? What is it's a lot of that kind of stuff, right? A lot of this, the problem, a lot of the conversations with AI being bad in music, no one's talking about it being good. I guess I'm the one guy here, but these are all conversations based on something we still don't really know fully, like if we knew what exactly music to a human being means exactly, which no one really knows, then this would be a lot easier conversation. Anytime you have a fact, it is a fact, so you can very easily dispute or prove it, right? We know that gravity exists, right? So if I say I can let go of my phone, it will float, you can obviously say no, it won't, you dingus. So when we're talking about AI music, right, we're already dealing with things that we don't really know in a lot of ways, right? We're not fully aware of why humans like music so much and all that kind of stuff. We don't really know the fullest extent of what AI could do. We don't really know every way we could use it, if it's bad or not, if it's going to be the end of everything or not. There's so many things we don't know, Again, even the objective things like what qualifies as art or not, or artistic expression or not, all that kind of stuff, So we're already on very shaky ground to begin
It
with.
was like, cool, let me share it. I'm excited for the song. Could just be that, like, the art's not mind-blowing, it's cute enough, it's fine. But then the new song comes out and there's an animated series of visuals to go along with it, and it's very clearly some AI slop. You would think two artists of Erica's and the Alchemist caliber would look at something like this and just be like, no, this kind of looks terrible. This is actually a pretty poor representation of the music that we're making together. Like,
To be fair, yes.
the animation is choppy as hell, in fact. Like, far worse than the animation you used to see on Adult Swim shows back in the day when they were working on, like, the most shoestring of budgets.
I'm literally watching some Adult Swim shows right now, like Moral Oral and stuff. It's literally stop motion, man. Like a lot of early Adult Swim stuff, because if you know the history, they had like literally nothing to work off of, right? It's literally stop motion. It is as choppy as it can get. So like
choppy as hell, in fact. Like
this, if you're gonna compare something, get a better comparison. It is not choppier than really, I want to say low tier, but out of respect for Adult Swim, like it's not going to be choppier than stop motion. It's fucking stop motion, like
that we're making together. Like, the animation is choppy as hell, in fact.
It doesn't even look that choppy to me.
Like, far worse
than
the animation you used to see on Adult Swim shows back in the day when they were working on, like, the most shoestring of budgets.
Yeah, like it's so I said I said something like he doesn't know. Clearly he knows, but the budget thing. But you cannot say it looks so much worse because it just doesn't.
Dimensions and perspective of some shots, like this one where Erykah Badu is like doing some graffiti on a wall next to Alk, are kind of confusing. You also have
that
Erykah
one
Badu's
right there
graffiti on
is
a wall
a tiny
next
bit
to Alk,
choppy,
kind
sure.
of confusing. You also have Erykah Badu's character here.
That's really smooth.
Singing into a disconnected microphone with these mangled music notes coming out that don't even look like music notes. There are some spots where Alchemist's hair is depicted as blonde, other spots where it's seemingly dark.
So there's a point, at some point soon, it's talking about all the errors. Yeah, there's a lot of errors. He mentions, they got into some drama. They were saying things. Sure. I think around this point in the video, right, they start talking about how, like, people on their artistic level shouldn't be doing this shit, not this, but more just, like, they should have actual artists and things, and, like, yeah, they should, But also, here's the thing. We're forgetting that it's an industry, man. Like, as much as it fucking sucks, people are in the music industry not for the music. It's for the industry. It's for the money. It's for all the hot topics. It's for that kind of stuff, right? And it might not even be their decision. It might be their record label's decision. Like, even if we go back to, like, bands like Acid Bath, right? They didn't want John Wayne Gacy for their album cover for When the Kite String Pops. They didn't want that. That was a label's choice. That wasn't their choice, So this video might not even be their decision, Clearly they're trying to back it up and, be all supportive of it, But again, they could be being told to by their managers. Who knows? Like, it's just seems weird to immediately blame them, They're just trying to cover their asses, most likely, right? But anyways, it's an industry thing, right? Like, if you are a person like Drake, or I want to say Taylor Swift, but they actually have artistic integrity most of the time. Most people in the music industry, in the mainstream, in the forefront, right? The music is the last thing on their minds, right? Drake, Sabrina Carpenter, kind of. I don't know. Point is, how you do music nowadays is music, whatever. What you do is you have these songs that are written by a whole bunch of people and all these mixers, all these huge teams, and they're songs that are really short, really easily easily makeable, and you make a whole bunch of them for an album, and you basically have a whole album cycle filled with all these promotions and products and things, and pre-order vinyls, all that kind of stuff, and then you do like an album a year. It's a industry cycle. It's all about the money. Because if it was about the music would be a lot fucking better now, wouldn't it? So, like, it's like you're mad that these people in the industry are not taking the music things totally seriously, or at least things related to like album arts and things like that. But here's the thing: in the industry, like, you shouldn't be surprised. Obviously, they're gonna do that. It saves them money, and it's a hot topic thing. So it's gonna get shareholders and investors put their wallets out. It's gonna happen. But here's the thing: in general, it's not bad, because you know what? There's a whole other side of this coin of people not in the industry. Like, example for me, right? If the last point he was making is kind of what I'm about to talk about here. We're basically saying, like, all these AI generated album covers and videos and things is bad. It's like, brother, not everyone can afford an entire mixing and production team to mix their music, or animators, or video editors, or album like artists for their album covers, or like, not everyone can afford that shit. And when it comes to this day and age, honestly, you have to have like some kind of video. Like, you can't have just a song pretty much anymore. You have to have some kind of video for it to be properly promoted and circulated. People want their TikTok dances, or their memes, or their screenshots. So, you can't just not have a video. You gotta have a video. You gotta have a video, man. So, like, like, even things like album art, you can't just not have an album cover. You can't do that. Like, even if I take a picture of my foot, like a placeholder, there's my album cover. Whoops, all foot. Like, people want to put some effort into it, obviously. So, and if they can't draw or have any money to hire someone because they're a struggling artist in their fucking apartment in a shitty city, right, with no proper like music industry ties, then, like, yeah, man, like, they're gonna have to do something about that. And like, AI generated stuff like can fill that void. Like, AI in general is not bad. Here's the thing: this is the big takeaway, right? AI is not bad in and of itself. It is not bad. It's bad when it falls into certain people's hands. You can definitely use AI creatively, to express things. But what the problem lies in whose hands it falls into. Obviously, AI in the hands of like really shitty companies, like not to name any, but like Cult Bisbee, for example, or Spotify, for example, or artists with not a lot of integrity who just want to like leech off things, like Blake, for example. Yeah, it's not great. It really isn't, but AI itself can be a really amazing tool that I think should be allowed to be invested in and improved, so people that want to use it can use it. Honestly, I see it very similar to like Vocaloid music, right? Vocaloid was not made as a replacement. It was made as a substitution. The idea was that maybe if you can't sing, or you blew out your throat, or maybe you don't have a good voice, or you're really shy, or maybe just a slightly more robotic voice would fit better with your EDM track. Porter Robinson used a Vocaloid a few times, and like, you could use Vocaloid, in these circumstances, and there you go. Now you have your lyric. Now you have your vocals for your song. It's still a skill. You have to like program and like it's like a piece of software that just like any other DAW or anything, right? You have to spend time to master and stuff. And also, um, oh yeah, so this is me archiving a lot of my old VHS tapes back there, just so you know. Um, where would this be? It would be. Hold on. Let me show you guys something. This would be in where would it be? Um, hold on. I gotta find this really quick. Let me actually pause the recording real quick. Is that going? Okay, cool. All right, so there is ways, you know, they can do this stuff effectively if you want to. For example, back before AI really took off, right? Like 2020, like 2021 or two, it was like kind of laughable. Will Smith spaghetti, yeah, whatever. Before that, we're talking like 2019ish, I think, right? Funnily enough, Markiplier released a video talking about a website called Artbreeder. Now, Artbreeder, I'm wondering if it's let me see here. Artbreeder is actually a really cool site that uses AI in its algorithms and stuff to do what it does. And I haven't been on this in so long. Holy shit, they changed the entire layout. So what it basically do is you have different categories, right? You have like animal, face, landscape, bunch of different things, right? And what it do is it would take. Hold on, I want to actually look up Markiplier's video on it. That'd be the best example. So at the time, his whole video was kind of making fun of like how sometimes it looked really awful. Sure it did. For certain things. Point is, I want to find. Was it here? This is what I'm after, right? So you see all these things here. You can so it'll give you two images, right? And it'll basically what it'll do is it will basically crossbreed those two images, right? So let me try and find one. So he's trying to upload there, it doesn't work. So it's generation, I think. I can't find it, but fuck. Basically, it with its AI algorithms basically combines different elements of visuals, and it will combine them into a new third picture, right? And you can even breed more than two at a time, right? And if you look at where all these sliders are, right, there is a lot of sliders for a face, right? There is amount of facial hair, amount of hat, different like red, blue, green. There's different races. There's emotions, genders. There's a chaos filter, a bunch of stuff, right? So you can literally spend time, and you can tweak things, and you can get some pretty cool things out of it, right? And like I said, there's a bunch of categories. There was there's like there's landscapes, there was character designs, there was anime face, there was real person face, bunch of things, right? I spent a lot of time on that site for a bit. I'm just kind of screwing around with those things, right? And I made a bunch of things I thought they were cool in the anime thing, right? Some of them are not too bad. Like this one is kind of whatever. I like this one, but like some of the ones like this, like if I told you this was like an anime girl face, I don't think you'd be able to tell. And like that was mainly me like saving a bunch of stuff that like I kind of like to look at, but there is one I really liked right here that I do want to use for a future album cover at some point, and I might even like get some paint and try to do a bit of a different take on it myself. But like things like this, right? Like I can so easily imagine this being like, maybe watercolor, maybe something with acrylics, maybe oil paint. I don't know, with more textures, maybe, and maybe not as watery and like smooth as watercolor paints, right? But like, I spent a long time, actively trying to like I was screwing with all the filters and stuff, for a long time, really tweaking things, like the color balances and a lot of that kind of stuff, right? The color balances and just generating images over and over again until I got like the proportions to be in a spot I liked. Um, there is a bunch of other little defects and things I was trying to generate, so they to kind of win a lottery and hopefully they didn't show up and stuff. Like there was way more of these little things up there, and that was the only one. I like that one. Um, so like if you actually like try, right? Like if like there is ways to use AI creatively, but you have to be creative. You have to try, But there is ways, And even let's say if I don't use that exact image for an album cover, right? That has still given me inspiration for an album cover I would like to do. I'd actually really like to combine that with similar to the style of the Caretakers album covers. The artist that I forget the name of, but it's not gonna. Oh, come on. There we go. Like you look at some of these covers, right? With like these are all actual paintings, right? And like I can see something there, Um, these are kind of a bit more blank feeling, right? And a bit more like you don't know what you're looking at, But excuse me, I want to take more of a I want it to be totally undefinable. I want it to be like a face of some kind, right? But I want to take more of like a depressing kind of thing, right? And if you really look at the image that I don't want to go find it again. I was in a whole bunch of folders. If you really look at it, it does give a very depressing feel, and it weirdly kind of has like a weight to it, And I want to tap into that, tap into a bit of this, and that'd be a cool thing. And just like that, AI has contributed to artistic expression without itself being the thing that is not really expressing anything or so. So, like, I wish people would just come at this with a bit more nuance, right? Just a little bit, just a bit. Because when people talk about AI, like I said, and they're talking about AI generated stuff, but they're not saying that. They're just saying like AI music, And again, like I said, there's differences between AI in music and then AI generated music, and it's not really a bad thing. I really don't think so. I can envision a world, right, where, and hear me out on this, right, the big issue, right, is like, oh my god, AI is gonna take all our jobs. Oh no. I mean, yeah. Like, is that really a bad thing? And like, really, actually think about that for a second, right? There's a lot of jobs that pay a lot of money because they're really dangerous, or you don't want to fucking do them. Do you want to by hand clean out the sewers in India? Do you want to be that guy that dives to the bottom of really gross ponds to fetch golf balls that fell in there? Do you really want to be that guy on the conveyor belt in the factory that's sorting pieces of plastic by color for 8 hours But by the way, just I saw this video where it was that right. There was someone sorting like little tiny pieces of plastic that came on a conveyor belt by color, right? And the person's response was like we can't have AI take these jobs. Like we'll have we'll have no jobs for the autistic people. It's like, motherfucker, I'm autistic. I don't want to fucking do that shit. Sounds fucking awful. For 8 hours a day. Oh, red, blue, blue, white, red, blue, green. For 8 hours a day? Like, I'm sure I get paid a lot of money, but like, I don't want to fucking do that if I don't have to. And with AI and robotics, which will eventually kind of combine to its own issues, that's what we're gonna have. We're not gonna have to be forced to do shitty jobs we don't want to do. We'll have intelligent machines to do that with, right? And then the first question is like, well, what if it goes wrong? I mean, here's the thing, right? For a certain, like, that's why we have things like technicians, engineers, and people that like oversee operations, to make sure things run smoothly. Things need updates, things need to be managed. Hopefully we'll get to a point where we don't need to do that. That'd be the absolute pinnacle. But here's the thing, right? What about jobs that people need, like making music? Very human things, right? Or like drawing or something like that, right? Things that are more artistic and kind of optional, and things people just like want to do. Like some people just like working on cars, right? That kind of stuff, right? AI could do both those jobs. Sure, they could. But here's the thing, right? Everyone needs money, everyone has to work, right? If we can have all the jobs we don't want to do and all the nasty jobs, right, done by AI and robotics and stuff, right? That means we have no jobs to do, right? And that doesn't mean everyone's going to have infinite money and no jobs. No, I'm saying, like, again, if we actually work on AI and robotics and things and allow it to evolve, right? And again, we keep in mind it's used as a substitute, not a replacement. I see a point where everybody could become their own boss and they can have their own business and they can run the entire thing because tools that utilize AI and robotics make it so much simpler. Like, if you want to have a career in music, but like you like there's just things you don't have, you can have some AI mix your stuff or make a video for you. If all you can do is play instruments and compose, but you can't draw, you can do that, and then you can have, AI maybe write some scripts for promotion or something, like check out blank song from whatever, or whatever, right? And you can, sell your music and make money that way, Or yeah, maybe you just want to work on cars, right? You can have things help you to work on cars, and you have all, So let's say maybe you have, I don't know, robotic stuff that makes it easier to lift things, stuff like that, right? Just like if we actually improve this kind of stuff, right? Like, it's not meant to replace us. It's made to improve us, and improve like productivity and stuff, right? And this is a bit dystopian, but bear with me here for a second, right? Humans are very social creatures. Yes, we need to interact with people to not basically go insane, right? Our brains will literally kind of start to lose it if we're not talking to people enough, right? Mental health, depression, whatever, that kind of stuff, right? Even imaginary friends and schizophrenia, in real bad cases. I've seen people like that before. It sucks. What if, all these like AI dating things and AI talk bots and stuff like that, like if that could substitute human communication, like imagine like the breakthroughs in like therapy and that kind of stuff, right? Because a lot, like, like a lot of different sciences and medical stuff, right? No doctor or scientist is an expert in everything 'cause there's way too much to know, right? AI therapists and stuff, right? That would actually be really useful if done properly, you know? It really would be, you know? Because again, like you can go to a therapist and they hate you or they don't really have good technique or whatever it is, right? Maybe you just don't trust him, right? But but maybe you trust SpongeBob or something, you know. Maybe you want, maybe you don't want some old guy to tell you that yeah, you're the issue. You should go call your mom. Maybe if a cute anime girl said so, you take it a little bit more seriously. God fucking. I mean, because at least in this area, at the end of the day, it matters that you get the help you need and you're put on the right track you need, right? And if it needs to be a real person or fucking SpongeBob, then what's really the issue there, And again, substitute, not replacement. Let's say for someone who's been heavily abused and stuff, right? They want to go and make friends and get a wider friend circle, but they don't know how to talk to people. They don't know how to make friends, and they don't want to get hurt again, right? Hedgehog's dilemma. Um, where it's how does it go again? The hedgehog's dilemma is a thing in psychology where you have a person who's been so traumatized, right? They, they are afraid to let people in because they don't want to get hurt again, like hedgehog's quills, right? You can't get too close or else it'll hurt, right? So you need a way to actually kind of train yourself to talk to people, and to just kind of get used to that, And then when you're good at talking to these, let's say, conversational AI bots for like conversational practice, right? To kind of learn how to be social. Even people who are autistic, right? To kind of learn how to talk to people a bit better, right? Because it is a thing that needs practice, If you don't have anyone to talk to, because you live alone, you don't have anyone you can trust, you're kind of a hermit, that would be good, And then you learn how to talk to people, and then you go talk to real people. And you know what? Because you know what you're doing, and you know how not to be, let me get this off the screen. You know how not to be awkward, you know how not to piss people off, all kind of stuff. Now you're making friends, and now you're actually doing good, in your life, I honestly see that in the right hands, again, and with the right intent, this could all be super, super helpful. But I think people need to kind of just ease up on this, right? People just need to relax. It's not gonna be the end of the world. It really isn't. If it was, we wouldn't be doing this. Obviously that and for things for like iRobot kind of scenarios, right? There's ways to prevent that kind of stuff. Like I don't know if anyone knows this, but I don't know people. I don't know how many people. I don't know how many people know this, but there is a way to basically kill the entire internet. There is a way, it's like a last resort, for whatever reason. If you need to get rid of the internet for whatever reason, it's kind of like a nuclear launch thing where you have like 7 people, 7 different keys, and they all gotta do a thing at once, and the entire internet could be gone tomorrow. The entire thing, just like it never existed, right? Whole thing kaput. There is things you can obviously implement like that into AI and robotics, like like a end all be all kind of kill switch, that if shit goes bad, you can kill switch it, backdoors for hacking and coding, there's always as hackers and people who pirate things, and as they would all know very well, there's always a backdoor. There's always a way to break the code and to do stuff, So that's my rant. That's basically it, I think if we just let this kind of stuff progress and actually put proper time and money into it, it honestly could be a really good thing, even for like, let's say like you want to make a game, another idea came to mind. You want to make a game. You want to make a game, but you have a cool concept you can't program. Well, you can have an AI do the programming for you, and you can still be in charge of the concept and all the creative stuff. There you go. Maybe you want to I don't know. Anyways, I think there is uses for this stuff. I really do, and it's not really useful for us right now because it just doesn't do anything for the most part worth anything, right? We've only just gotten videos that look super realistic with audio now, right? And like, what was the last thing I wanted to say? I mean, there used to be a point where I don't remember. God damn it. I don't remember. I don't know. Anyways, I'm probably gonna end the video here. I'm probably going to see. It's 2:25. I might have the time to record an album review. I might not. I don't know. Actually, not seeing how late it is. Early at this point. I do want to record one soon though. Just to let's see. So there's a couple things I do want to do. I was really interested in some Matmos's stuff, some spelling, because I also watch Anthony Fantano, I want to look at Oasis. This album by Fontaines DC seemed pretty cool. I wanted to do this. I heard that was a really good album. A bunch of their stuff as well. A bunch of June stuff again. I might do. I'm tired. I kind of want to do this one. I kind of want to go chronological, but I think I'd rather do Drain a Love Story, or one of those two. I don't know. I do want to cover the new Swans album. I really want to do that. Let's see. On Del Rey, I was kind of thinking about. Oh yeah, the Caretaker stuff. I really want to get into. That. I was gonna do this one, then I realized it was like fucking, like, hours and hours and hours long. It was like crazy, super long album. Like 28, 28, 40, 46, 19, 29, 27, 29, 21, 45, 34, 42, 30. This is a long ass album. I ain't doing this. I ain't doing that shit, I think it's 7 or 8 hours. I wanted to do some Gutter Pink. They're kind of similar to June's work as well. Ghost, obviously. There's a lot of things I wanted to do. I did want to do a genre exploration on Brazilian MPB, which is basically, it's very similar to Japanese city pop. At the same time, it's in the 60s. I just realized my screen wasn't being shared, but at least I was saying all the things out loud. That's cool. I do want to do that. Some KZ Live Tune, which is Vocaloid stuff. Some Genocide Oregon, which is noise stuff. A whole bunch of things I wanted to cover. I will do it eventually. A whole bunch of Okame P's albums and Yu Yape albums, Utsupi albums, Future Sounds of London, Fortet, Square Pusher, in the electronic space, the new Sleep Token I wanted to do. A bunch of stuff, I wanted to do also Lil Wayne, Outkast, some Nas, whatever one, Common, the new Marilyn Manson maybe. Anyways, just a bunch of stuff I want to do. So I'll get to that when I can. I'm trying. That's going to be it. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you did. To the end. You're great.